Hey everybody, this is Mr. Jones coming to you today to read to you the article for your virtual assignment, Post-Classical World, Medieval China's Tang and Song Dynasties. Okay? So right up here at the top, we're going to start right here, okay, where it says the Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 AD. So after the fall of the Han Dynasty, China saw much chaos similar to what happened in Europe after the fall of the Roman Empire. Unlike Europe, though, China was eventually reunited. The Tang Dynasty was the next Chinese dynasty to unite China for an extended amount of time. All right, section is Tang culture. The Tang Dynasty is known as the Golden Age of Chinese culture. The capital of the Tang Dynasty, Chang'an, became incredibly wealthy and supported the flowering of Chinese culture. Okay, this paragraph right here. Due to the popularity of the Silk Road trade routes, Chang'an became a meeting place of many different cultures and religions. Christianity, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, and Islam all influenced Tang culture. Syrians, Jews, Arabs, Persians, Koreans, Tibetans, and Japanese all lived side by side with the Chinese of Chang'an. In the year 636, Christians from Syria were allowed to build a church and hold Christian services barely 600 years after the founding of Christianity and less than 300 years after Christianity had become the state religion of Rome. The foreigners not only brought in new religions, but new clothes, cuisine, literature, and music as well. The imperial court itself had several performing troops of actors and musicians gathered from surrounding nations permanently performing at the court. Okay, so this is like a cultural center. You got a lot going on, different clothes, okay, different religions. All right, a lot of different things going on in this area right here. All right, right here where it says among. Okay, so among their cultural achievements, the Tang craftsmen excelled in making porcelain and jade pottery, utensils, and sculptures. Tang weavers advanced their silk weaving, making clothes much softer and more extravagant than what Europeans were wearing in their scratchy wool. Porcelain and silk were in high demand, further increasing the trade between the world and China. Okay, next section. The Tang Dynasty also saw the invention of the movable type printing press. Originally, if someone wanted to make a copy of a book, they would have to write it all out by hand, which took a long time. Using movable type, however, craftsmen created blocks of letters like the type your future children will play with. When they wanted to make a book, they would arrange the letters into a copy of a page. While this took a long time, the printer could then roll ink over the blocks and then use the blocks to make hundreds and hundreds of copies. This allowed a vast amount of books to be printed much more cheaply, causing literacy to be more widespread. Okay? Poetry became a popular subject for all these new readers. The poet Lai Po became quite popular. His poetry focused on simple language that allowed the reader, to immediately understand his emotions. He loved to celebrate the beauty of life and nature and wanted to share that love. Quote, the moon shimmers in green water. White herons fly through the moonlight. The young man hears a girl gathering water chestnuts. Into the night, singing, they paddle home together. Okay? That's from the poet Li Po. All right? The second great poet of the time was Tu Fu. Okay? Tu Fu. Tu Fu's poetry was much more complex. Readers have to work harder to understand Tu Fu's poetry. Tu Fu also focused on the tragedy, not the beauty of life. So while Li Po is more optimistic and direct, Tu Fu is more negative and complex. Here is an example of Tu Fu's poetry. Okay? As bamboo chill drifts into the bedroom, moonlight fills every corner of our garden. Heavy dew beads and trickles. Stars suddenly there, sparse, next aren't. Fireflies in dark flight flash, waking. Waterbirds begin calling one to another. All things caught between shield and sword. All grief empty, the clear night passes. Okay? Next section is the Song Dynasty, 960 to 1279 AD. Eventually, the Tang Dynasty fell under pressure from outside invasions and domestic rebellions. The Song Dynasty soon took control over China after the fall of the Tang. All right, you have the Song economy right here. Okay, under the Song Dynasty, China experienced an agricultural and commercial revolution. Chinese farmers saw their production and wealth increase dramatically. For hundreds of years, Chinese dynasties had required peasants to do free manual labor for the government each year. This was how China built the Great Wall and roads. All the time they spent working for the government was less time they worked on their fields. The Song Dynasty eliminated forced labor. Okay? Secondly, farmers were allowed to buy and sell land for the first time. You see, some people are just better at jobs than other people. By letting farmers buy and sell land, good farmers could buy land from bad farmers and produce more crops on that land. Okay? These two factors resulted in a phenomenal increase in agricultural production, and the wealth of the government and individual farmer increased significantly, though most farmers never became truly wealthy. All right? Next paragraph. The most important economic innovation of the Song was the widespread use of money. China was the first country to use both paper and coin money. Okay, so they're using paper and coins for their money system. All right, this helped China in two ways. First off, peasants used to have to pay their taxes in grain. The Song Dynasty now allowed farmers to pay their taxes in money. Okay, since they no longer needed to grow grain, this freed up weak farmers to sell their farms and go get jobs they'd be better at in cities. Anytime you give people more freedom to choose their jobs, the economy will improve as they get jobs they're better at. Secondly, before the widespread use of money, trade had to be done as bartering. Okay? People exchanged goods for other goods. All right? If a farmer wanted to buy a goat, then he and the goat's owner would have to come up with some sort of trade. Quote, for example, I'll give you half a cow. Obviously, that's an awkward way to do things. So the use of money made trade much easier, and the economy increased due to this. The booming economy led to the growth of cities. Okay? The city of Kaifeng eventually had a population of 250,000 households. Okay? The city of Hangzhou had a population of 391,000 households. Okay? Compare that to Europe during the same period. Rome had an average population of about 35,000 households, and London had a population of about 20,000 households. Okay? Think about that. All right? China is holding many more people, way more people than what Europe is at the same period of time. Okay? This puts it into perspective. All right? There is no civilization on earth that was comparable to China during the Song Dynasty. Okay? Here we go. Song technology. All right? These Chinese cities were bursting at the seams with merchants and trade. What were some of the goods and inventions that other cultures wanted? Merchants along the Silk Road obviously made most of their money off the trade in porcelain and silks. Okay? During this time period, China also invented a process to make steel, and they began producing gunpowder weapons. All right? The demand for goods and services was so great that China began an unprecedented acceleration of foreign trade. Chinese goods were traded as far away as Africa and the Middle East. China also created junks, the largest ocean-going vessels in the world at the time, that carried Chinese goods over the Indian Ocean all the way to Africa. Okay, so they're finding ways to transport these goods across oceans. Okay, reaching all the way trading with Africa. All right. China also built numerous canals. All right, canals are man-made rivers that allow shipping and transportation to new areas. All right, the largest canal was called the Grand Canal, and it was built to link the Yellow and Yangtze rivers and make it easier to ship rice from the north to the south, helping to prevent starvation and improving the economy. Okay? Even though they were prosperous, The Song dynasty also fell, like every other Chinese dynasty before it. This time, they were overrun by a dangerous people to the north. They were called the Mongols. Okay? Now, here's your questions. Right down here, you have Tang Dynasty questions, okay? And then you have Song Dynasty questions. Read them, okay? Answer them to the best of your ability. All right? Make sure you give complete thoughts, complete sentences, okay? And you'll be fine. And of course, use the information in the text, all right, to help you out, okay? Thank you all. Have a great day. All right, peace.